All right, and last on our lightning presentations, Eduardo, come on up with FactualVR, and after that, we will get to Susanna and Games for Change.
Thanks, AJ. Hi, my name is Eduardo Neeter. I'm actually the founder of FactualVR. The intention of the talk today, I'm going to do a quick introduction of my company. I'm going to talk about a project that we were involved recently with the National Institute of Science and Technology for first responders, and then just wrap up on introduction of the other work that they are doing. So quickly, in terms of my company, our vision actually to improve justice, and our goal is to allow anyone to inspect a crime scene. We're actually building a platform to help law enforcement and prosecutors to accurately replicate and communicate the facts around a crime scene. We're using from data capture to integration into a virtual environment, the visualization and the navigation, and the annotation and the collaboration through the process. The view that we have is we can help investigators, then support in their collaboration with prosecutors, eventually defense attorneys, and at some point in the future, we see every courtroom having the ability to recreate a virtual environment to reproduce a crime scene. A little bit of myself. First experience developing VR was more than 22 years ago. I had the opportunity to do an internship with a research lab in Japan. This was science fiction kind of stuff. This is actually pictures of the system that we developed back in the day. I had to reserve a multi-million-dollar computer for 1 hour so I can run the simulation in the research lab. Fraction of the power we can get in any desktop today. I also did a human-computer interaction grad student at Georgia Tech. Was still confined to a research lab. Graduated, got an MBA, got a real job. About 2 years ago, I decided to do something with VR that was meaningful, and founded FactualVR in this approach. Also, I'm part of the VR AR Criminal Justice Committee. As a part of the RAC Committee, the goal is to study and influence the policy and the practices, how to use VR in the criminal justice. And here we are thinking of investigations, courtroom applications, and then rehabilitation after time has been served. I'm a co-chair of the committee. The other co-chair is Rory Wells. He's a former assistant prosecutor. He has as a partner of a private firm. So shifting gears, so let's talk about the project that we were involved recently. This is a National Institute of Standards and Technology had a competition, a challenge to develop a VR heads-up displays for first responders. They broke the challenge into two areas. One is for firefighters. The other one is for, let's say, law enforcement in a hostage situation. The competition itself has 4 stages. It started with a concept paper back in January. We have to develop a working concept. We actually a Unity shop, so we develop it in Unity. For the guys in Unreal, we had a challenge because the simulation from this was created in Unreal. So we actually were lucky enough to get a collaboration with the Glimpse group and bring that to reality in the Unreal platform. We got the first prototype presented in May. We satisfy the requirements, and then being in the top 7, we make it to the final presentation. That was a conference in San Diego. It's an annual conference when they have firefighters and police responders, EMT, different functions in terms of the technology challenges that first responders face. From, I go into a basement and my radio doesn't work, to I have to carry 4 different phones because I'm working with local, state, and different levels, right? So it was very eye-opener to be in that conference and see what these guys are working on. Just a little bit of the competition. So I look into the law enforcement space. So the scenario was a hostage situation. Is law enforcement, we're given two objectives. We are assumed that the geometry of the place where we are going, in this case like an office building, is known. And we know the location for, anyway, about different elements like the victim, the other police officers, firefighters, and hazards that might be in the room. And then the notion was how to display that information to the first responder, how to help them navigate to the different objectives. And then, from then on, the competition was free in terms of creativity. I had the opportunity to actually work with a SWAT team commander who, one of the things that I have to confess that working into the space is my assumption of what happened in crime scenes is what I see on TV. That, of course, is nothing close to reality, right? So there's a lot of unlearning that I had to do, a lot of learning from that part. So out of the full idea of things that we wanted to do in this interface, working with an actually SWAT team commander helped us bring it down to earth. There were many things that were like pretty cool, but to say, move it out. So the design principle had two elements. Is think of two roles, which is the commander and then the operator. So the commander is usually, let's say, downstairs or what have you, not necessarily in the place, while the operator is going to be on the field actually acting. And then not only the two roles, but the 2 points in time, which is when we're planning and figuring out what is happening versus when actually acting and rescue. So what I have here is a quick video of the demo that we presented. So the way that this is actually the NIST environment. This is the environment that they walk. This is actually our prototype. So we have the navigation path. We have different indicators of the location. We have a gesture next to our belt where we can actually select the different targets, different paths. Like the blue one is to the police officer, the green one is to the victim. In this area, we can bring the notion of like a mini map that we have the location, like the police officer, and select the path. So this is for the planning phases. In this case of the victim, we're assuming that we can link to the surveillance cameras of the location, and we can have some of these video feeds attached to our helmet. So it moves with our head, while some of the planning, like the map, actually move with the body. So we separate that notion of the uniform, like the helmet and the vest and the belt, and then it goes into navigation. So the way that they have the challenge, we have to actually go into a random selection. Users will go with in a scenario with knowing anything and just go and try to rescue a victim. So the path in this case is indicating where to go. They have little surprises, like a fire erupts in the middle of the path, so the path has to be rerouted. The officer needs to go to find the victim. So this will be like location of different objects, like other police officers, firefighters. Part of the challenge is how we disclose that through the smoke, how we disclose that through darkness, how we can support still the task in this nation is go, grab the victim. Once I grab the victim, we leave the room. Now a new path towards the exit get displayed, helping the navigation of the user to go back, again, to different obstacles. Interesting, they had, what they claim is when they have this simulation without the aids, usually take about 10 minutes for, let's say, a non-firefighter to find their way in this route and find the victim. In this one, they have the number of teleports, what they use to facilitate steps, so that would be about a minute. So it's 10-to-1 kind of ratio. We're providing this information to the first responder versus otherwise. Quickly, just what else they're doing in this space. Well, before I close that, so I mentioned the collaboration with Glimpse. I need to thank actually two people that sweat significant amount of hours to get this done. So Jake and Saul. So and just to close, so this is the kind of work that they're doing. I was pleasantly surprised to see how serious the federal government is taking the use of this technology for these purposes. They just awarded $5 million to different programs. These are the different institutions, universities. They were actually present at the conference. They're building VR environments to simulate and test all these potential solutions. The traction and dedication is significant. I was pleasantly surprised to see how serious, again, they're taking this technology. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk. Again, we're hiring. If anyone is interested, let me know.
All right. Thank you very much.